Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday fun day. I got my buddy Jim back here. We're on a night of lake today. I went right back to where I was yesterday, down near 128, and we got right back on those same fish I was on yesterday. We didn't crush them this morning by any means, but I think we've had over that last little flurry maybe 10 walleyes. I say we've had 10 walleyes. We've lost 2 or 3 of them right at the net. Everything's been on jigging wraps this morning for me. For both, well, you had 1 or 2 on the worm harness.
Yep.
Jim was dragging a harness while we were jigging as well, so we had a kind of a double threat going. He had a keeper on that. I had a keeper on a jigging wrap that I lost, maybe a second one. So we had quite a few shorts, but like,
nice 20-inch or 2.
Yeah, we had one here on the 2 passes ago on this drift. We're back down a little closer to 130 right now, finishing up the morning, and we found this one hump, and the whole top of it was just loaded. Perch too, but perch and walleye. And our first drift over the top of it, we had 5. We went back now, we hit one other one. But everything for the most part has been on jig and wrap style baits. Jim and I both been fishing a hyper rattle, Acme hyper rattle. I was fishing a shiver minnow for a while. I had 2 bites this morning on a goby pattern Rapala until I broke the tail off it. 2 fish and the tail breaks off. So that's been, we've fished blades on and off. I certainly have fished 4 or 5 colors of blades. Nothing. The blade bite was not happening today. Now, all of these main lake reefs that we've been on are rock reefs, and they are just loaded with gobies. Loaded. I have caught, in the last 2 days, I've caught 20 gobies on my hooks. And most of them look like they're biting it. It's crazy. It's the hook points on the inside of the mouth. But so when you're around gobies, whatever fish are living there are going to be keying on that as a food source. So then your browns and your dark colors, stuff that stays close to the bottom comes into play. Now, yesterday I had them good early in the morning on a blade, on a homie blade. I did switch over and fish Mike at I1 Baits has a great, I think he calls it a sandpike. But it's brown and white, it's mottled in color, and it's worked exceptionally well this morning. Also, Moonshine Shiver Minnow has a brown glow goby, which was pretty good this morning, and I even put half a flatworm on the tail as a little dangler, a dangling participle. And we got a stage 4 Klingon. We've had fish everywhere we've been this morning. Again, I'm not going to tell you that we've crushed them. The guys that are trolling worm harnesses out around this main lake structure have been doing very well. I can tell you that much. So if that's something you do, we've been drifting a harness. I don't have the ability to get this big motor to troll down that slow, so we haven't trolled any harnesses, but I know they're getting them like that, so certainly could be doing that. But it seems to have been a jigging wrap style bait bite today for us. We had some sunnies mixed in. I had back-to-back casts in one spot on a big purple and white glow shiver minnow. 2 back-to-back sheepies right up through the top of the jaw. Both waffled it. Both times when I come up and set the hook, I'm like, oh, that's a good one, finally, It was a good one, all right. Once they start pulling drag towards the bottom, you're like, well, there goes it being a walleye. But, so it's been nice. It's been nice. Again, we haven't really tuned them up, but at a time of the year when the jig bite usually wanes a little bit, and you see so many guys combining with either stick baits or worm harnesses, to still come out and catch 10 fish. I mean, if they were the right ones, we'd have had a 2-man limit, quickly, very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and we started right off on them this morning. A lot of fish in these structures. Both mornings I've been thinking about heading to Shackleton and fishing that structure down there. But then, you have to drive by. For me, I drive by so much stuff that's got fish on it. So, you gotta pick your poison too. And listen, if you're so inclined to run all over the lake at the drop of a hat, that's great. But sometimes you gotta really look through your area. You just stop on one. If you just stop on the absolute highest percentage spot, it's still a lot of percentages. They might not be at that one spot, but they could be 50, 75 feet on either side. Now everything we checked today, we checked the upwind side, what little wind we've had, and it's been moving around all morning. So these fish aren't set up, but you got to start somewhere, and so you start where the wind's hitting whatever structure you're fishing. And then you get all the way in the basin and you start coming up. And some of these main lake reefs that aren't buoyed off, they top out at 20, 18, 15, 14, and then they might have a little tiny bit of vegetation on it. Now, one spot we stopped had just that. It was 28 to 32 all the way around it, came up like this. And some spots pretty steep, and it topped out. It had a nice big 20-foot bench to the top of it. And then in one corner of it, it went up even more, another step up to like 14 with a little vegetation. And we had 2 bites in there, ripping these jigging wrap style baits through there. So, it's sometimes it's run and gun. Other times it's, hey, I think they're here. I'm seeing enough fish here. Now, we saw a lot of fish in these first 2 spots this morning that would have been perfect for a troller, because you'd see a here or there or here, or you'd have a bunch of singles spread out on your screen as you were going through. A couple times today, we have seen just wads of fish. Now, some of them could be perch. We saw a wad right on top of this last hump. The first drift through were 4 walleyes out of that wad. The second drift through was missed one, come back down, went, and it was a big perch. So they're living together. You could have smallmouth sitting on those humps too. It's very possible. So 7 more minutes, that's a long time. All right, that'll do it for today. I'll be back out here in the morning with my buddy Paul on our normal Monday morning fishing trip. I want to thank Jim for joining me today. I want to thank all of you guys out there for joining me today. And if you like what we do here, I'm going to show, hold on. One thing I did want to show you guys. So these are a couple. This is that brown glow goby moonshine pattern right there. That's the Rapala jigging wrap minus the tail that broke off this morning on the second fish of that. But that is, that's a great goby impression. Perfect. This is also something I did get bid on and I didn't get it. That's a Kitech 3.8 in the goby pattern with a VMC V-head big eye jig. Now, you could snap that off the bottom, which I did a little bit of. You could slow roll it, drag it on the bottom. You could hop it across the bottom so it looks like a goby going bloop, 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 like that. There are things you can do there. These were the 2 for me. And this one in a couple different colors. What did it for us this morning. And then just the plain silver and black, the smaller size hyper rattle right there. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. I think although I think we've missed the storms. I think we got through everything without getting too beat up. So, thanks everybody. Have a great day, and as always,
Keep your tip up.
Keep your tip up.